Hi friends, welcome back to Testing Tutorials Point. This is Lokesh Gorantla, and today we are going to discussing about our first test case creation using our gauge with the Taiko. Okay, and we are seeing the past video session like sorry, introduction and as well as how to install and set up and all, right. Now in this particular session, I'm going to take this particular demo website. Okay, and there we can able to verify, right, how this login successful message will be presented or not. uh, okay, this information we'll check in this particular video session. Okay, first go to here in the spec side, we need to create a new file. Okay, that you can provide for any kind of name. Okay, I'm going to create for new tours. Okay, dot spec. Okay, this is a spec file, that's why I'm going to spec. Okay, the spec is basically, if you convert into the BDD framework, that is called as a future file. Okay, inside the future file, what that entire future is required for on future tag. How we can able to declare in our this particular place, gauge place, it is a hash, single hash. Single hash indicate for entire future file. Okay, I'll use for a new to login using a gauge. Okay, and we need to create as a scenario, a specific scenario we need to create that indication for double hash. Okay, and here we can able to use for login test. Okay, now each step we required for providing, right, then we can use for step. Okay, step for that we can use for star. Okay, in a BDD we can use for given, when, then, and. Okay, here it is not required that all the things, you can directly use for star. Okay, launch the website. Okay, and then enter the username and password. Okay, and click on the login button or submit button, whatever it is. Okay, and then verify that login was successful. Okay, these are the four steps. You can see that there are four step definitions you need to require. It is showing. Okay, that how to implement. You can able to create that step implementation here, or you can create your own file. How it will think whenever it will run that particular program, it will go to the load entire files, which is a step implementation provided presented inside the test. How many files it is there, it will load that all the things, and then it will search for the matching thing. Okay, if you see here, here two references is presented. Okay, like this it will think. Okay, now I'm going to creating for my new step, right? For this you need to create the new file. I'm going to use for new tours underscore step dot js file, because it is using for JavaScript. Because of that we are using that. Okay, and we need to top up that, we need to use for use strict. Okay, this is optional, you can able to use or you cannot able to use also, no issues. Okay, then we need to use the constant. Okay, open browser is not required because it is already presented in this particular pie. Open browser and close browser, both the things are presented. That's why we don't want, we want for go to, because the browser is required. And then text box and click and take. Okay, the assertion is required, we need to do for some assertion also, because of that it is required. Okay, now we need to implement. You can see once we implemented, this count will be reduced. Okay, first is required for launching the website. Okay, I'll go to here step. Okay, and provide the value async and then function creation. Okay, we need to use for async functions, right? These all are async function. It is for go to. Okay, in this go to we need to provide our URL. This is my URL. Okay, we provided for the URL. Then what we need to provide, enter a username and password. Okay, step, and again you need to provide the username password async functionality, and here we need to use for our values. Okay, and here you can take for Mercury is my value. Okay, comparing to all the programming language, this one writing for different style. Okay, this will use for different style, right? Await, write is the method. First it will accept for the which value you are going to provide inside the text box, and then we need to use for into, means it is going to entering that. Okay, then you need to use for text box. Okay, that is a text box indication. Okay, and here you need to use for locator. This is a name locator we have, and that particular name we are going to take. Okay, name colon double forward slash this one. Okay, and similar format you need to use for password as well. Okay, password also. Okay, await, wait, Mercury is common because that's the same value. Okay, into password p. Okay, and then you can see the count also it is reduced now. We need to click the login button. Okay, if you say here is a submit. Okay, directly I'm going to use for submit itself. Okay, async, and here we need to use for await a click method and then value of my submit. Okay, this particular value of submit, what value it is there, that specific value we need to provide. This is my submit and I can provide for my submit itself. Okay, this will take for the submit. Okay, once we submitted, we are going to validate for verification. Copy, and then here we can use for step, and then you can provide for the value. And here we need to use for that particular text is visibility is presented or not, right? Once we log in, there is a login successful message is there. We can copy this entire text, login successful. Okay, and come back to here, constant success text is equal to await, await a text basically we are using for XPath to text, right? That one dot exist. Okay, if it is exist, then you can use for success. In case if it is not presented, then you can provide for login was failed. Okay, in case his application is waiting time is more, then we can use for await for, and then you can use for 2000 seconds. Okay, it will help you to work. Okay, now I'll take for running if this particular spec. Okay, now new tours dot spec dot ts file. Okay, if I run now, first it will hit for step implementation before and after, then it will take for in the new two steps. See the red mark. Okay, the red mark indicate that that particular text is clicking, that box is clicking like that. Okay, now it is all got passed. If you go back to here, documentation location, this location and reports and HTML reports, and here you can see one of one new tools login is successfully done. Okay, Like this, we can able to get our output perfectly. Okay, this is all about for first test case. Okay, we can see for how many locators we have inside that, how you can able to use that particular locators, like those everything we can discuss. See this particular naming convention, which is comparing to all other programming languages, this is completely different. Basically, we can take for X path, double forward slash, and all these other things we can do, right? Similar format, but different way of achievement. There is a by dot text or X path, CSS selector like this, and playwright get by label like that. We are using similar format. They have own locators and all, good locators and all. We can see that also in the upcoming session. Okay. Thank you for watching, and please do subscribe and share to your friends and colleagues. Thank you.